We look at the beginning of the 2024-2025 NBA season. It looked like the Portland Trailblazers were once again heading towards the bottom of the Western Conference standings and missing the NBA play-in tournament and the NBA playoffs once again. And then something happened. All of a sudden, the Portland Trailblazers were able to take this very young but also very talented young group of guys, and they've been able to find something special, and they've actually become the hottest team in the NBA. And no, I did not say that incorrectly. The Portland Trailblazers are right now the hottest team in all of the NBA. They're on a 6-game winning streak, which is the highest in the NBA as of right now. They are extended their winning streak to 6 with their most recent win over the Sacramento Kings at home. And then also we look at the Portland Trailblazers over their last 10 games. They have a record of 9-1, and we stretch that to 11 games. They have a record of 10-1. And then what's been so impressive about this run that they've been on, and how the ways that they rejuvenated things and basically turned their season around, is that we've seen them win games in a multitude of ways. We've seen them destroy opponents. We've seen them win the gritty games. We've seen them come back and win ball games. Their their most recent win against the Sacramento Kings, if I'm not mistaken, they trailed at one point in the fourth quarter. So we've been seeing these guys do it all, and we've been seeing them do it against talented teams. We look at some of the teams that I've visibly seen the Portland Trailblazers beat as of late. I've seen them beat the Phoenix Suns twice, and I know the Phoenix Suns isn't having the best season, but these are games that the Portland Trailblazers were expected to lose, because on the other side they have Kevin Durant, they have Devin Booker, they have Bradley Beal. They've also had another outstanding win with a bunch of eyes on the ball game. I was able to experience this one on ESPN. Most of the times if I'm watching the Portland Trailblazers, don't tell anyone, but I have to watch it illegally because I don't have NBA League Pass, but I had my ways. But nonetheless, I was lucky enough to be able to watch this on ESPN with Giannis and Dame coming to Portland. Dame making his return to Portland. We know how coveted he is in that city, and the young Portland Trailblazers, they were able to outshine him and outshine Giannis Antetokounmpo, getting a W in that game. And then also the team that they just beat last night, the Sacramento Kings. I know it's a new team. They had a new addition in Zach LaVine, but still, that's a bunch of talent and a bunch of offense. Domantas Sabonis, DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine, Malik Monk, Keegan Murray. That is a very talented team. So what I'm getting at is that with the Portland Trailblazers, what they've been doing, it looks legit, and it also looks very sustainable. And now they put themselves in a position where, if I'm not mistaken, their record is at 23-29 right now. They're about 6 games under 500. They're 13th in the Western Conference, but they are not out of reach for a spot in the play-in tournament. And with the way that they're playing right now, the way that they're looking, it's definitely possible. And the one thing that we can look at with the Portland Trailblazers, we look at them since they've re-sparked their season, since they turned things around. One thing that's been really constant and has become the identity of this young team is their ability to play defense, and their ability to play defense as a team. And it makes sense when we look at who their head coach is. You guys see what the logo is on the hat. They have Mr. Big Shot Chauncey Billups. I'm very happy for him. I've always liked the Portland Trailblazers because of Damian Lillard, and now they have Chauncey Billups, so I definitely want to see him succeed. Even though when he was winning championships and completing in the playoffs, I was a very, very little boy. I don't remember any of that, but still, I know the legend that he is here in the city of Detroit. But what the Portland Trailblazers have really been able to emphasize and make their identity is the way that they're playing defense. Over their last 11 games, the Portland Trailblazers, they have the best defensive rating in all of the NBA. And we saw a prime example of how elite this defense can be. We just talked about the Sacramento Kings having all that offensive firepower. Zach LaVine, Malik Monk, all of those guys, they held the Sacramento Kings to 102 points. Now that's really good in today's NBA. If you can hold a team anywhere near 100 if you can hold a team anywhere near 100 points, you are doing something special, something spectacular on the defensive side of the ball. And just listening to the players, listening to Anthony Simons, listening to DeAndre Ayton, listening to Scoot Henderson, all of these guys talked about how they've been emphasizing defense, and it's just been some things as simple as communicating more, talking more on talking more on the defensive side of the ball. And I heard Chauncey Billups, he had like 4 different meetings where he wanted to stress the importance of these guys playing defense, and just to put into a bigger perspective of how this uptick on the defensive side of the ball, how it's really a flip man switch for the Portland Trailblazers. Now, we just talked about over the last 11 games, they've been the best defensively rated team in all of the NBA, but yet still for the entire season, the Portland Trailblazers, they rank at 26 in the NBA in defensive rating. Now, I'm not saying that to discredit them, but to saying how making this change to the defensive side of the ball, how before when they were losing games, it was because they weren't that good on the defensive side of the ball, and then as soon as they started to lock in and buy into that defensive identity, now it seems like the Portland Trailblazers cannot lose no matter who they're playing against. And also, you ask around the locker room, you ask the players, you ask the coaches, they all say it starts with Toumani Camara, the best defender, the best perimeter defender on the Portland Trailblazers as of right now. And in his most recent game, he had an off shooting night, but he played hard defense, and he also grabbed a career high 14 rebounds, right? And that's just the type of player that Camara is, the type of player that he was drafted to be. And I really hope I'm pronouncing his name the correct way. If I'm not, please let me know down in the comment section. But we look at him as a basketball player. He's around 6'7", 6'8". He has extremely long arms, and then he's a supreme athlete. He can guard multiple positions, and then he just has a very high motor, and he has a lot of hustle. And when this is happening, it spreads throughout the entire team. You see guys, once you see one guy playing really good defense, it's contagious. I know it's contagious because when I'm playing pickup, whether it's at the Y, whether it's at old high school I used to go to or anything like that, if I see my teammate giving it all and playing hard on the defensive side of the ball, it's going to make me feel funny if I'm not doing the same. So stuff like that, it definitely matters, and it definitely spreads to his other teammates, and we're seeing it show up in the numbers because they've been ranking since they've started to win games. They've been the best rated defensive team in the league, and it makes sense when we look at the Portland Trailblazers, the way this team is made up. They have a lot of size and a lot of athletes on this team. We look at Anthony Simons, who's the starting point guard right now for the Portland Trailblazers. He's not a small point guard, but he's the shortest guy in the lineup. And then you have Camara, you have Denis Avika. I don't know exactly how tall Denis Avika is off the top of my head, but I know he's no shorter than 6'7". You have Jeremy Grant, who I believe is about 6'8", 6'9", and you have DeAndre Ayton, who's very mobile, very athletic for a big man his size. And I forget how big DeAndre Ayton is. I forget how big he is. Well, I don't forget, but I don't think a lot of people realize how big he is. He's one of the few centers left in the NBA that when you see him, he looks pretty huge. So for him to be that mobile, and that athletic at his size, it really ties into what the Portland Trailblazers have been doing on the defensive side of the ball, which is being a very active team that's flying around. They're rotating, they're helping the helper, and they're doing all of those great things. So the defensive side of the ball is what Chauncey Billups has been stressing to his young team, and it's the identity that these guys have been able to lean on, the identity that they've been able to believe in, the identity that they've been able to execute as we've watched them win these games. And I think offensively, the Portland Trailblazers, I think offensively, they've over the last 10 to 12 years, they've been one of the most fun offensive teams to watch in all of the NBA, and a lot of people don't realize that. But watching Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum for the last 7-8 years, it was really beautiful, and I think they passed something special down to Anthony Simons. Now, back when I used to make Portland videos quite often. I used to always say it's like somehow Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum, they got into a lab, and somehow they were able to create Anthony Simons Simons. And when I see Anthony Simons, I see so much of Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum in him. And what I see from Dame, the way he's able to shoot the ball from deep, the ways he's able to release it so quickly. And I think out of the three guys, I think Anthony Simons, he definitely has the prettiest jump shot. And then also what I see in him from Dame is his ability and how underrated he is when he's getting downhill and how athletic he is. He can finish with both hands, and then he can also punch it on you. And then what I see in him from CJ McCollum, and I've always thought CJ McCollum, and you guys probably know this, he's one of the best shot creators, if not one of the best, probably the best shot creator in all of the NBA. You look at CJ McCollum game, a lot of it is jump shots, a lot of it is floaters, not too many layups, but a lot of jump shots in the mid-range, a lot of threes, and most of them are not off of the catch. Usually beforehand, he's dancing to get open, and CJ McCollum, he could really boogie. I definitely think he was a better ball handler and a better shot handler than Damian Lillard, but it's definitely up in debate. But I definitely see that characteristic in Anthony Simons as well. He's really good at creating his own shots off the dribble and getting to spots where he can rise up and shoot the basketball. So Anthony Simons, it seems like he learned a lot from those two guys, and he's been able to produce that out onto the basketball court, what he is. And he's a very fun 3-level scorer. He's athletic, he can pull up from deep, and then he can get super hot. So they have Anthony Simons on the offensive side of the ball. They have DeAndre Ayton, and DeAndre Ayton, as of late, since the Portland Trailblazers have been on his winning streak, he looks like a different guy. What I mean by that, it looks like they have gotten him to buy in. It looks like they've gotten him to love basketball again, because I don't know if you guys remember, but before he left the Phoenix Suns, he kind of left that organization a little bit disgruntled. And you never know if when you get a disgruntled basketball player, are they going to be happy playing with you? And with DeAndre Ayton, now I heard like his first season in Portland, like he missed the basketball game because he said he couldn't get out because of the snow. I don't know how severe the snow gets in Portland, but stuff like that, and I hate to be blunt here, that sounds like a very sorry excuse to miss the basketball game because there's too much snow. But nonetheless, it seems like things like that are out of the way with the Portland Trailblazers. I'm seeing DeAndre Ayton celebrate more with his teammates. We're seeing him play harder, and most importantly, he's been putting up some pretty good games against some other pretty good bigs in the NBA. So it's good to see these two guys. I think they're the best two offensive players on the Portland Trailblazers as of right now, and then they have so many young guys that's bubbling with talent on the offensive side of the ball. Scoot Henderson has been productive this year off the bench, averaging 12 points per game, 43% from the field, 36% from the three-point line. Shaedon Sharpe, using these two guys as a tandem off the bench has been really fun to watch for the Portland Trailblazers. You have Denis Avdija, who's really good on the offensive side of the ball, very smart, very savvy in basketball player, and he's been doing a really good job this season at getting to the free throw line. So the Portland Trailblazers definitely have so much potential on the offensive side of the ball with the talent that they have on this team, but also what they've been able to do on the defensive side of the ball has been truly, truly special. So that's what I want to talk about today. The Portland Trailblazers, who got off to a rough start this year, are now the hottest team in the NBA and making a interesting Western Conference even more interesting. But if you guys enjoyed, please leave a like, comment down below if you agree or disagree, and then subscribe for more weekly content. We do this all the time, man, and that's curtains.